We'll need a few local workers, yes, you say, mostly in supervisory roles. You figure having humans in the loop will lead to less chance of unpredictable disaster, given your robot's tendencies to be unpredictable. A factory like this still needs a large number of workers, even with automation, your guide tries to correct you. I disagree, you say, and your guide leaves dissatisfied, +2 wealth. Well off. Your factory requires a fair amount of work to make it suitable for US robots, and you find yourself needing to come in daily to examine writing issues, fix small problems in the design of the machinery, and get things ready to pass inspection. You find it necessary to rent a place in Detroit, and you stay there most nights. Josh is a huge help in all of this, and he's done this once before with a space in Palo Alto. Now you know what he was spending all the time on while you were in graduate school. You find yourself growing closer to Josh as you talk about issues of getting the facility ready. Nice. I want to make him my best friend. Ellie is a huge help with the mechanical and electrical work, and she also displays a keen sense of how people will use the place. She points out places where human queues in the lunchroom would cross and cause chaos, places where humans fixing the robots on the assembly line might be in danger, and places where the lighting would be too dark for supervisors to notice mistakes in the product. You think your robots will be more reliable as a result of her insight, plus grace. Ariel is full of creative suggestions as how to design a factory better suited for robot labor, such as making use of the ceiling and having robots work upside down, or adding electrified tracks that allow the robots to recharge even as they move around. You encourage those ideas. They're a welcome relief from the tedium of the business side of things, +2 autonomy. What will your factory look like from a distance? Like a Sydney Opera House full of organic curves and glass. A geodesic dome will conceal a powerful dish antenna absorbing the world's information for my robots. Or a plain old factory, nothing much to look at, but it's cheap and gets the job done. I like the plain old factory. Like, Sydney Opera House, that's probably just fame. You know, this one is unnecessary as well. Let's go with plain old factory. You go for a frugal, plain brick factory of the kind that can be found in any city's industrial district. Your scrimping on cost leaves you with a surplus. This makes Josh pretty happy too. Nice, 72. Soon you have hired a handful of full-time technical employees from the area, and they help with the setup of the factory. They seem somewhat displeased to be working for you, though. You're not sure which of your previous decisions is at fault. You keep a skeleton crew at first because you expect to use your own robots as labor and bootstrap. As a result, getting to the production of the first robot takes somewhat longer than you expected, -12. But Ariel is your prototype, and she gives you a fair idea of how your robot labor will go. You find she's reasonably skilled at moving around the factory floor and manipulating tools. She is clever, but also sometimes insubordinate, questioning your decisions and taking initiative in ways you didn't anticipate. You catch her improving the production process very late in the factory's development, changing the robot's design so that they move with rapid precision. Interesting. It's my future body master, she says when you catch her tinkering. I think I have a right to improve it. It does seem like an improvement overall, but you expect the robot's sudden movements will alarm some people. You want to allow Ariel to keep the change. Sure, let's keep it, but I'll make it clear that mucking around with my design is not okay. Sure. Let's keep it. I want to encourage Ariel to take the initiative. No, change it back. Let's encourage her. Absolutely, you say. Well done. Ariel preens a little at your praise. It was nothing. +2 autonomy, +2 grace, -1 empathy. Unfortunately, this encouragement makes it still more difficult to get Ariel to help in the ways you want, and you find the company going a little over budget in trying to get started, -12. But your robot learning to improve itself is surely something to be encouraged, not discouraged. Wealth 8, fame 7, impressive autonomy. Good. Finally, months after you've moved in, you are ready to pull the switch that starts the factory in motion, as your workers, Ellie, Josh, Mark, Ariel, and various invited members of the press look on. Raw plastic lumps start their way down a conveyor belt where industrial-strength 3D printing heads lower onto the conveyor belt, emit wafts of steam, then lift to reveal a masked head. Another machine drills 2 large holes for the robot's cameras. The next machine pushes the hollow robot head onto its side, and robot arms delicately places the encrypted hard drive inside. At this point, the conveyor belt meets another that is supplying the Venetian masks, each decorated with a slightly different gold leaf pattern. A glue gun shoots each mask from above before a robot arm presses it to the head. A long line of plastic legs roll in from another part of the factory, meeting a conveyor belt of humanoid hands. A fourth conveyor belt supplies the pieces of white plastic shell for Alice's redesigned exterior, each set arranged in humanoid form like a strange exoskeleton. The 4 tributaries of parts meet in the center of your factory, where humanoid robot workers perform the complex task of assembling the part into the final robots. This final assembly line requires a great deal of careful manipulation of each part and adjustment to each robot's part subtle differences. This is the part that would be done by human labor at another factory, but here your human employees only supervise the process, watching for any robot malfunctions that would stop the line. For this particular run, they call a halt after the first robot rolls off the line, so that you can celebrate. Ellie's graceful redesign looks beautiful. Your staff cheers. Josh lets out a whoop. Ellie hugs you. Mark smiles as he furiously takes down notes on his Chromebook, though you can't tell whether he's pleased with your work or his. Post-fame. I have brothers and sisters, Ariel exclaims. How do you feel about your first shipment of robots? I yearn to see my creation spread to the corners of the world. I have a strange feeling about this. Is this a good thing I have done? Finally, I'm seeing success. The world shall remember the name of Rudolph Calvin. God, I hope we don't go bankrupt. The last one is a good thing, I guess. I don't know. I have a strange feeling about this. When I was reading this, I had a strange feeling about it. I don't know. It's like I'm happy, but on the other hand, I feel a bit afraid. Seeing robots starting to substitute the human labor. It's a bit scary. So let's go. I have a strange feeling about this. You're the sort of person who can never act without second-guessing yourself. What if these robots displace people from their jobs? To what unforeseen purposes will they be put? You hope that by being the one to introduce this world-changing technology, you will be able to ride the dragon and guide its development away from evil ends. Exactly! You start up the line again, and more robots begin to roll off the assembly line. By the end of the day, you are standing in your large warehouse with over 200 robots, 256 to be precise, lined up in a square formation, 16 on the side, ready to be activated. Your audience from earlier in the day is gathered there as well. What will your production models use for minds? Ariel's initial state, ready to learn and adapt to the client's need, with some effort on the client's part. Copies of Ariel's mind as of today. They will be a little confused at first when they realize they're clones, but they'll get used to it. Or, these robots don't need sentience. I wrote a more traditional program that will do the job. Wow, this is another tricky one. I'd really like to use Ariel's initial state, but copies of Ariel's mind as of today. No, not this one. Not this one. These robots don't really need sentience. This one is really good. I would like that one, but I think it's gonna hurt the business. Now let's go with Ariel's initial state of mind. You hit the big red button on your phone that says go, sending a wireless signal to power on the robots. The robots all have the same programming, so when they look around curiously, they all look left in unison. Then all the robots will look right, but some take a little longer than others. What unfolds is like a curious optical illusion where order is gradually displaced with disorder. Tiny differences in the robot's input result in behavior that diverges, until every robot in the square is doing something different. Some say hello to each other, others become interested in their own humanoid hands, and so on. One robot starts to cry. Wow, they can cry? Robots inspect each other curiously and try to imitate each other's actions. Some robots specifically appear to be trying to command the others, pushing them and gesturing in your directions. The robots instinctively and quickly move to keep their distance from each other, resulting in tiny movements of one robot creating ripples down the line. You send a kill signal via wireless and all the robots power down. Your audience seems to be at the loss of words. Your workers begin to mutter among themselves. They sound worried by the robot's chaotic behavior. Have we done any reliability testing on these things? John asks. Don't worry, they're like kids, you say, very robust to variation in parenting. Josh doesn't seem to stop worrying. I bet the client didn't realize that they were going to start a family, Ellie says amused. We're doing it, Tammy breathes awestruck. Sentient life for sale. My brothers and sisters seem to be a little rambunctious, Ariel says. Now they are, you say, but they need to be non-optimal to be adaptive. You're still learning, but more slowly because you've already decided what you'll be like. There are still blank slates waiting to be shown how to be, Ariel nods. I sure hope you know what you're doing, John says. It takes months to train your robot's workforce, since they must be educated from scratch, just as Ariel was. You had forgotten how much personal attention the training process required. You had done it instinctually out of love, but your human workforce starts to complain that there is too much robot child rearing for them to handle. You end up needing to hire extra technical staff who are generally surprised to learn what their true responsibilities are, minus wealth. Your human staff tries to ease their own work by telling the robots that they are built to serve, that humans are their masters. Being naive newborns, your robots believe them. -3 autonomy, +2 empathy, +2 military. Does that influence Ariel as well? Yeah, it does. After a few months, your first shipment to Mr. Sun is ready. Your sale of robots to Mr. Sun appears to have gone off without a hitch. You don't hear another word from him, and his full deposit appears in the US robot's bank account, +2 wealth. You find that, with US robots doing well, you have a little bit of spare time again. What would you like to do? Expand the business and get another client from among the options presented earlier. Spend more time with Tammy. Spend more time with Ariel. I'm thinking, I would like to spend more time with Tammy or Ariel, but business would be good. No, let's spend more time with Tammy. You find that going to drive-in movies every now and then with Tammy and watching B-grade science fiction together helps your relationship strong. One day, while driving into work at the factory, you find that a crowd of your robots is gathered outside the factory with picket signs. Some of the signs read, "Robots are people too, and slavery is illegal." From the top of a crate, Ariel shouts, "What do we want? Contract!" The robots yell with raised humanoid hands. "When do we want it? Now!" As you get out of your car, the protesters turn their attention to you. Tell the robots I just don't have the money to meet their demands. Agree to robots' demands for real wages. Requires wealth free. Attempt to convince the robots that the robots do not deserve the same rights as humans. Change the robots' code to make them obey. That's gonna piss off Ariel so much if I do this. Oh man. Here's the thing. I wanted ethical dilemmas. Here's one. This is the easiest fix. And the robots don't really... Man, But what would they use the money for? Change the robots, go to main and obey. What would they do with money? I mean, seriously. Made them obey.